Welcome to our podcast and strap in for Movie Monday. Hi, I'm Minky Madison.
And I'm Jack Green.
Today on Movie Monday, we discuss House, the 1985 comedy fantasy horror. The synopsis is a depressed writer holes up in his aunt's supposedly haunted mansion to write his next bestseller. Holy shit. What did you rate it?
To Colonel.
Aw, I gave it 3.5
Oh.
because it was pretty good. Okay, stop and watch the movie first now, or strap in for major spoilers. Did you have any favorite lines?
I didn't really have any favorite lines.
Oh my goodness.
I just remember, well, there is one favorite line in the very beginning when the guy says, "You're writing about Vietnam." And then he says, "Yeah." And he goes, "The war?" I don't know, and then the guy got a depressed look on his face and he walked away.
That's
Um,
funny.
yeah, so that was a favorite line, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, that's a good one actually. Okay, I have two that are not that one though.
Oh, good.
Yeah, working out pretty well. This is a great episode so far. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, okay, so when Roger is like, in the closet upstairs, I saw something, and Harold's like, this is other than coats and hats, etc. That made me laugh.
Yeah,
And
he was
then,
very odd.
yeah, he kind of made, well, he didn't, I wouldn't say he necessarily made the movie for me, but he was a great aspect. Man, I can't talk tonight.
A
He was
great
a
ass.
great, what am I even trying to say? He was a great addition to the cast. Good Lord. I'm
That's
gonna have to be
funny.
cutting like half of what I say out. Okay, let's see if I can get through this next one. Holy shit. Okay, the other quote I liked was again Harold. He's like, "Hey, it's great to have a new neighbor. Woman lived here before you was nuts. Biggest bitch under the sun. Just a senile old hag, really. Wouldn't be surprised if someone just got fed up and offed her, know what I mean?" And then Roger's like, "She was my aunt." And he's like, "Heart of gold, just a saint, really, and such a beautiful woman for her age." Although that's been done in movies before, I still enjoy it every time just because it's such a funny contrast. Even when it's expected, it's normally pretty good.
Yeah, that was
And
funny.
and this one was made before I was born, so for all I know, this could have been the first time it was done in a movie. I wouldn't actually know. So it was a good time.
It did have some good lines, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
It just, a lot of the dialogue was 80s, it was just like from a lot of 1980s movies. It's just a sign of the
Yeah,
times.
that is true. That'd be weird if it wasn't, right? Because it was 80s.
Yeah,
For
that
like,
would be weird.
so I'm gonna go into my pros since it sounds like I liked it more than you did.
Yeah,
And then you can go into your cons and bash the hell out of it. Sound good?
sounds good.
Okay. Okay. So it was just funny to me that his neighbor was his biggest fan, and yet somehow he didn't know he lives next to the house the writer grew up in as a child. And Roger's reaction to it was odd, because I would be nervous if my new neighbor was a crazed fan with one of my books handy in his shorts. That was just like a funny reaction, because he pulls out his manuscript in all these different pages, you know?
Hmm.
And wouldn't that make you like kind of leery of your neighbor who's like a crazed fan next door? I don't know. To me, it was I
Yeah,
liked it. That's why I wrote, but it just made me laugh.
yeah, it didn't make sense.
Hmm. Okay, and then it had a good composer. I liked the mood music, like
Yeah,
the
that was
score, I guess.
cool. Hmm.
Yeah. And the opening credits was neat. I felt like it was just the camera moving around the house, but they did it in a good way, so it was interesting and kept my attention. And although the oldies didn't quite fit the tone in places, in my opinion, I do really love oldies, so they were enjoyable for me.
Yeah, that is true. I did like some of the old time music.
Yeah, those are my only pros. No, I'm kidding. I have a shitload. I like when Roger is brushing his teeth and then randomly decides to check a closet and nothing's there. Then he walks away for like half a second and then goes right back, and an awesome looking huge monster comes out and shreds part of his robe with its claws, like its long ass claws.
Hmm.
And it's 2020, right? And to me, the monster still holds up. And I wish I had seen it more. Like they didn't have it in there as much as I would have liked, just because it was kind of cool looking to me.
Yeah, I did like some of the special effects. I agree.
Yeah.
Especially the one that posed in like a purple gown. It was
Mhm.
like a woman.
Yeah.
That was pretty creepy scene. And her, well, I don't want to take up your time. You can keep going.
Yeah, that's right. This is my time. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I like that one too. The monsters, they did a good job, I think, and which is hard when you watch an older movie because sometimes they don't. But I feel like these, I mean, it was obviously comical. Like they weren't trying to be like these are real monsters or anything. They weren't to that level, but they were really good for the tone of it. Okay, my next pro is Roger's sweater with the long V front that shows his whole chest because that was really comical. He wore that a lot. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's
It basically
80s
wasn't even a
style.
shirt. It was, yeah. Also, they wore those a lot, like where their whole chest was out of a V-neck.
Hmm.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was the
And I liked
style.
that it was a sweater too, because it just kind of added to it for some reason.
I have a similar sweater to that. Yeah, the
Do you
V-neck.
really?
I don't like V-necks. Yeah,
But you wait. So it is or isn't a V-neck? This is important. No, I'm kidding.
it is a V-neck.
But is it like showing your entire chest to your belly button? Because I feel like
No,
that's
no. I'm just saying I have a
okay.
V-neck.
Okay.
And it
Well,
does
then
show
it's
more than my
okay.
chest than, I mean, a typical shirt.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I'll let that one pass. This one just cracked me up. And I think I don't know if it was intentional. It sounds like it's the style back then, so it probably wasn't, but it was funny. Okay, and then the line of fans at the table for his book signing and the overly eager lady at the front was
Hmm.
funny. Her reaction was like so over the top, but it was intentional, you could tell, and it was really funny.
She was near the front,
Okay.
like, you mean in the kind of in the middle of the line?
Oh, was she in the middle? I thought she was in the front. I didn't mark whether or not she was in the middle or the front. I just kind
Oh,
of,
okay.
I wrote at the front, my bad. So it must have been near the front or something.
If I know who you're
What did
talking about, then yeah.
Oh, okay. Good, good. Okay. When Roger uses the army drill to catch the monster in action with his tin camcorders and a rope to open the door, and
Hmm.
then he somersaults down the staircase and lands on like this crazy pose on his lawn, and then of course the neighbor Harold is right there, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And then he just says he's working on his book and goes right back inside. And then I loved when he's staring weirdly and comically through the blinds at Harold. You know what I'm talking about?
Hmm.
That cracked me up.
You really love this movie, I can tell.
I really did. I
Was
really
it,
did.
you loved it in a comedy way?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Do you think
It
it was
definitely was
intended to
not.
be like that?
I think it had to have been, I feel like, in my opinion.
Had to have been,
'Cause yeah,
wow.
I feel like it had to have been. I could be wrong here, but it was, if not, I mean, it was very funny, so maybe it wasn't supposed to be. I feel like it was though. Did you not laugh at all?
I mean, I laugh some of the time, but I just don't know if it was intended as a comedy. It may have been. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if it was
Yeah.
supposed to be a comedy or if it was just bad.
Oh, it definitely was intended because even when I said here, House, the 1985 comedy fantasy horror,
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah. So
there's a lot of elements.
here, I'm gonna look online just to double check and make sure that I didn't just like put that in there because I thought it was funny. Let me make sure. I'm pretty sure it was a comedy though because there was just so much. Yeah, it's listed first as comedy, fantasy horror.
Oh, well,
So,
there you go. That explains it.
so you were watching it thinking it was a drama?
I wasn't sure. You mean I wasn't really sure what they were going for. Um, Obviously it was a mixture of everything, and that can be problematic.
That's
You want to deal with strong themes, and then it's basically a battle between presenting all these themes in the film and which one's going to take the lead, basically. And it sounds like it was
right.
the comedy aspect really overpowered the horror and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
mystery.
definitely.
So
I haven't seen this movie. What's that movie with the damn. I haven't seen it, but I feel like it's that type of movie where it's kind of like the apocalypse or something if I know, and it's this guy and he has a shotgun and he's like it's a horror of some sort. It's really old. Am I are
uh,
you understanding what I'm saying?
oh, I know what you mean. I just don't know. I have no idea what that movie is.
Well, that's what I was hoping. That's what I meant. Do you know what I
Oh,
mean? Like, do you know a movie?
no, I have no idea.
Damn it. Oh well. But yeah, okay, who cares? When Roger's about to pull the cord or the rope for the monster, and Harold scares him to death when he appears in the bedroom doorway with Chinese. What the
Hmm.
heck? Because no knocking or anything. It's like, thanks for the food, but for real, notify a person before you just enter their house. Because he could have really hurt himself. Not that he knew he was chasing monsters, but who the does that? Especially when they just met.
Lets themselves into their house. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a bigger monster there than maybe the ones he was dealing with.
Yeah, I can understand if they were really great friends, because then you probably get to the point where it's not a big deal. But they had only known each other a couple days. And it was funny when Roger kept holding Harold's hand back from trying to eat his last bite of food.
Yeah,
So that
maybe
was
he had
funny.
romantic feelings for him. I'm not sure.
Well, he started to worry about his sanity. So he was like inserting himself more and more. And he was a big fan. I think they kind of wrote him to where it's kind of believable, but he's also kind of crazy in his own way by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Another note was we got to see a plethora of outdated 80s electronics, like ancient computers and phones and TVs and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And
So these are all positives for you?
yeah, these are, I have, you let me read my list. No, I'm kidding. Too many, you think?
No, 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 I just didn't know, like,
What
I
I'm
guess the list
saying.
of things you liked about the film, that it had a lot of
Yeah,
80s electronics.
I liked that. I haven't seen those in so long. It was fun to watch, like these
So it was a
giant ass
nostalgia
TVs.
factor.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I get where
exactly.
you're coming from now. I just, I wasn't sure what you were doing.
They're like, are you just listing off stuff from the set? Like, what's going on? When Sandy, his ex-wife, calls, and although he's alone, he quickly blasts music and pretends he's having a party with the boys. That made me laugh. And when the realtor nearly shoots him with an arrow, because that came out of nowhere, kind of. He just picks up a random, I don't even know what you'd call that. You know what I'm talking about? The shooting arrow thing?
Crossbow?
Yeah, thank you. Crossbow. He picks up the crossbow and then nearly kills him right there. I liked that he saw his aunt again in the house because she was looking rather normal and she was telling him that the house tricked her and knows everything about them and to leave while he still can, and then goes to hang herself but disappears. I thought that was done neat. Did you like that? I'm assuming you have pros too, right? Or
I liked that I got to see her again. Is that what you're asking?
I'm asking, did you like that scene? Did you think it was neat how they did that? Like, brought her back, and then I don't know. Maybe I liked this too much. I'm like, that's great. Like, this is mediocre as hell. I
Yeah,
don't
it
know.
seems pretty generic, like ghost movies in the 80s. But,
So, I don't know why. Maybe it's my mood. I don't know why I liked it so much.
yeah, you
Um,
really did.
I really did. Like, I'm only halfway through my prose right
Wow.
now. Okay, I'll just keep going so I can stop being long-winded and let you go. So, okay, the next one I have is I like how random everything that happens is, like the axes and shovels flying off the wall, and the monsters, and the apparitions, and the ghost sun mirages, and the giant mackerel on the wall wigging out, and the jungle flashbacks. There's just so much going on. It seemed to have almost a little of everything. So I think it kept my attention, which was big for me, because you know how I don't like being bored. So I feel like this one, for the most part, something was always happening, and I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I liked it so much, because I was always entertained. And then Sandy being a crazy worm mutant that he murders, which is what you mentioned, the monster in the dress.
Hmm.
And when he thinks the cop wants his autograph, but he just wants to use his bathroom, that made me laugh too. And I don't know. In hindsight, the movie to me is actually funnier from my notes, like how many things I listed. Because when you're watching it, there's a lot of stuff in between these moments. So maybe that's why you weren't sure if it was a comedy or not. Because it's not like it hits you bam, 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 everything is funny. But the stuff that is funny is really funny to me. So maybe that's why.
Yeah.
And the monster grabbing his foot from under the garbage bag when he's talking to the neighbor,
Hmm.
and then he beats it with a shovel as soon as she turns around, like she doesn't have any ears. And then the dog digging up the still moving hand and running off with it. That was all funny. When she tricks him into
Hmm.
babysitting,
Yeah.
which is actually that same lady.
Oh,
And then the giant hand is on the kid's back and he's running around the mansion. He's trying to get it.
yeah,
That
that
made me
was
laugh.
funny.
And then when Roger psychs up the neighbor to harpoon a raccoon, which is incredibly fun to say. Say that, harpoon a raccoon.
Harpoon a raccoon.
It's a good time. Then he's shocked it's the closet monster, and Roger gets mad when he only shot it once. And he didn't even explain it. That was probably one of my favorite parts because he gets all frustrated and then he gets his ankle caught in the rope. You know what I'm talking about?
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
cracks me up. Just Roger's face. He has this like disappointed expression and like, what the hell are you doing? When he didn't explain to Harold anything that was actually going to happen. It was just funny. It's almost like he really did kind of lose his mind at that point. It was great. And then my very last pro, and then it'll be your turn. The bathroom mirror cave was kind of neat. And then I loved the flying skull faced bat creature sharpshooting his rifle. Honestly, I rewound that a couple times because it was hilarious. Did you laugh? Tell me you laughed at that part.
No.
You didn't?
Mm-mm.
All right, well, that was it. Your turn.
That was quite an extensive list. It pretty much covered
It was-
everything that I had getting as
Oh,
well.
I'm sorry.
Um, but yeah, the special effects, I like those from, everything that you were talking about. And,
You're like,
uh,
you didn't leave me. Well, you were gonna go into your cons, I thought, to bash it.
oh, well, I can do that. It really isn't a con, it's just personal preference, I guess. It hopped around so much that it was like an, I don't know, it was so accelerated. And I guess, people can appreciate that because it wouldn't make you bored. But sometimes it can be
Right.
too jarring, just the flashing back between Vietnam, and the mansion. Um,
Right.
it kind of made it hard to follow the story in that sense. They kept hopping back and forth. And I believe his son that he lost came back at the end, but
Mm-hmm.
but I don't understand why or how that would
Well,
happen.
well, my dude, he went through the mirror cave. Remember?
Oh, I definitely remember. I know how it happened. I just don't know
Oh,
how it happened
why?
as in why, like, and
Uh,
how, like, not how as in what transpired, but how that's possible.
yeah.
I mean, not that it's not, it's obviously not possible, but if there's magic or something, I can understand that. But did it make that clear that there was some type of magic going on that allowed that to be possible?
Well, there's random ass monsters showing up in his closet, and then how the son was taken was from the pool, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's kind of got this almost surrealness to the house to begin with. So to me, it wasn't super unbelievable that the mirror would open. But do you mean like why would the ghost let him? Because it seems like the ghost had to help him get him, if that's what you mean. Because I agree with that. It doesn't really totally explain why the ghost
So
suddenly is
it's
helping him.
how did his son died, drowned, right, in the pool?
Well, it didn't actually show him die. They just know he went into the pool and they couldn't find him after that, so they assumed he drowned or whatever. They never found his body or anything.
Uh, yeah,
And
that's what doesn't make sense. If you drown in a pool, they'll find the body because it's a pool. It's not, in an ocean.
oh, no, I remember. Okay, no. So what happened was the dad thinks he sees the kid get in the pool, so he goes and jumps into the pool to get him. He's not in there, and they just think the son went missing and that he hallucinated that. That's what happened.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's what happened.
It
Um,
is.
oh, I trust you. I'm just, like I said, it's a little confusing. And then he's in a cage in Vietnam, a paranormal Vietnam. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how that happened. Like, I think it's more comedy, obviously, because comedies tend to worry less
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
consistency. Um,
Exactly. I don't think they were like making sure it was super believable. Cause yeah, it was jumping all over the place. Cause it was going to like Roger's flashbacks from being in the war, and then it was kind of intertwining with this house and these weird things that are happening. Cause at the end, when he finds his son, it's in that jungleness dream, but it happens to be in his bathroom. So I think maybe the ghost gives him these images or something. Cause remember, the villain is even his war bud.
so is it the house or is it his warbud? Like that's what was confusing to me. Like, was it the spirit of his, like, what was possessing the house? Was it this evil spirit that took the form of his friend, or was his friend's spirit actually the evil that was in the house?
I, man, I don't know. Cause you're right. It's not very clear on certain things like that. I feel like it's maybe a combination. Like the house was already like that, and he just like, I don't know though. Maybe it was all just his friend, which makes sense for part of my con, because that kind of explains it then if it's just the war buddy that somehow, I think the war buddy died and then came through the house that was already capable of afterlife activity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. That makes sense. I don't think his war buddy was the cause of all that. The power of the house was bringing him back in some way. That makes the most
Yeah.
sense. But then to make him like the villain at the end, I don't know. It just, the power of the house decides to put its full effort into the war buddy as the great antagonist. So yeah.
I don't. They might have been separate things. Like I think maybe the house's activity and all that was its own. Like it just that house is haunted and it has a really strong,
Hmm.
And then he just kind of because he obviously knew him well enough maybe to know where he lived. I mean, none of this stuff is really clear. Like you said, it's a comedy, so they didn't try really hard to make everything make super sense. I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
because there was definitely good stuff about it. I'm more picking it apart, obviously. But if you can enjoy it for what it was, then it's not too bad at all. For, obviously in your case, you loved it,
Yeah.
and you didn't understand any of that, at least not fully.
Yeah, I think when I'm watching a comedy for the most part, I still want it to make sense in some way, like I don't It has to have at least a little bit, I think. I guess it depends on what it is, because Aqua Teen Hunger Force doesn't really make any sense. I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
I like when he put a TV dinner in the microwave, and it might have been an old-fashioned TV dinner, not the ones I'm familiar with, because he literally just stuck the box in the microwave and turned it on. He didn't pull it out of the box. It looked like
Oh, that's funny.
maybe that's how they made them back then. Now you have to pull them out of the box.
It's probably because now they use plastic packaging. Maybe back then they didn't, so it was cardboard within cardboard, maybe.
Yeah, maybe the top of that box just tore off and the food is just inside of it. So that makes more sense. And I think that is how they used to be.
Yeah, like
At
a
least,
cardboard carton or something.
yeah.
Were those all your cons and you're going into pros, or?
Uh, yeah, I was kind of, my pros and my cons are so, enmeshed that
Oh, okay.
I think it just depends on the way you want to look at it. A con could be a pro, so, depending on who you are. And in my case, it's just conflicted because you want to like certain things, but if you don't understand them, it can be hard to like them.
I guess you could still like it and just wish there was more clarification, maybe.
Yeah, like I think there at one point inside the mirror there was pterodactyls.
That's what I'm talking about. That creature that was hilarious. He was a sharpshooter with a rifle.
Yeah, so it's the guy obviously was pretty brave. I mean, anyone goes in his house and finds out there's dimensions. Oh, so there was a stupid thing in there. When he
Hmm?
first discovers there's a portal through the mirror, he actually leans out the window of the house and looks at the siding of the house. I guess to see if there's like a hole there, because there's this portal right through his mirror. But that's
Right.
dumb because he opened up the mirror and could see behind the mirror that there's just a cabinet there with medicine and everything. He's already established that the portal couldn't be through the wall of the house. It could only be through the mirror, which is impossible, obviously. But then he proceeds
Hmm.
to look around the siding of the house to see if there's a portal there. I don't know. It just
Right.
didn't make any sense. Maybe that was supposed to be more comedy. I don't know. In that
I
part.
don't know. That made sense to me. He was trying to see if he was seeing what he was seeing correctly, and he was. And it was just like confirming, like, yeah, no, there is this hole here. And I think at that point, he had already seen monsters. His wife and him got a divorce, didn't they? Or almost did. He didn't really have anything to lose, I feel like, at that point. And he's still trying to find his son. He kept seeing mirages of his son. So while it would be scary jumping into your mirror like that, especially with the pitch black, I do think it's believable enough that he would have gone in there.
Well, okay, let me try to explain it. And if you still feel that way, that's fine. This is what
Okay.
problem I had with it. So you're looking at your microwave and you open it up and the internals of the microwave look fine. You open the door and it looks fine. You close the door, you smash the window of your microwave, and then there's this void there to another world. So you go, oh my God. You open up the microwave and the inside of the microwave is still normal. It's just when you peer through the window of the microwave, you see this other world, right? Would you
Right.
then pull the micro? Now, having seen that when you open the door, it's normal inside and it's just occurring in the window of the microwave. Why would you then
Oh.
pull the whole microwave out and look behind it? You've already established that.
Did it happen in that order? Because that is funny. Yeah, maybe it was comical or like for comedy
Yeah, you can go back
reasons.
and look at it again, but maybe I'm wrong. But it seemed like he established that this portal was occurring in the
Yeah,
mirror, not in the actual medicine cabinet. And then that
that's
wasn't good
funny.
enough, so he leans out the window and looks behind at the wall to see if there's like a portal. Well, if there's a portal in the wall, you would have seen it through the medicine cabinet.
Right. That's funny. Yeah, they probably did that for humor reasons because I feel like a lot of it was.
So I guess he's not brave, he's an idiot. You get what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I like the inventiveness of it. Pterodactyls and monkeys and whatever else was in there. It's just
And I will say, too, you picked this one and I knew nothing going in. So I had no preconceived idea what it was going to be. And that always changes things, I think, because you may have been wanting to watch this for a while and had all these ideas of what it would be,
yeah,
if that makes sense, which may have changed your view on it.
that's possible, I suppose. There's a whole series of these. There's like five of them or something, maybe
What?
more. Yeah, it's a series called House. The one I had seen on YouTube, it was like a clip of number four or something. It said in the title it was a funny scene from House Four or something, and it was like a pizza
Holy
guy
crap.
that comes to the door and he's like singing. Um,
Okay, so I take it you do not want to watch them because I'm down to watch all of them.
well, now that I know what it is, I'll have a different frame of mind going in, and maybe I'll enjoy it more.
Or at least we could watch the second one and see how it goes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We can go in order and see. I just got to go in knowing that it's more humorous than scary, and probably not going to make any sense. So,
Yeah.
as long as I go in with those, the logic and reason has to go out the window.
Yeah,
Like the cop
basically.
scene. how they acted was bizarre. Like, I don't even know. Uh, they were coming in his house and like, I don't know, doing weird shit, and I don't know what the hell was going on. There was bullets on the floor, and they're like harping on him about that. He said he was cleaning his gun, and it went off. There was a whole big discussion about that. So I don't know what the hell was going. Like, I don't know. The cops were just humorous cops, I guess. Cops that didn't make sense.
I mean, one had to use the bathroom, which is why they went in there to begin with.
Yeah, and he had that dead body in the closet, and then the
Yeah,
closet
and he was
kind of
acting
opened.
really weird.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I don't think they acted too weird, in my
from
opinion,
real
but maybe
cops.
they did. Well, they just needed to use the bathroom, and maybe they would have been, because he was acting kind of weird, maybe they would have checked more into stuff. That's possible. I don't know what they're allowed to do. If they're invited in someone's house to use the bathroom, are they then allowed to, if they feel like you're suspicious, are they allowed to like go around checking your house? I just don't know how that works, because I think you have to have a warrant, don't you? Or maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're allowed to just go around your house. You invited them in, so anything in the area of where they are at, where you
Yeah.
have them at, if they see anything, they can't go looking in drawers and closets and
Yeah. So I guess that's what I mean. Like, what do you think a normal cop would have done differently?
um. I don't know if they would invite themselves in to take a pee, but they might. After some guy is claimed to have discharged a gun.
That's funny. That's true.
So not only did he claim to have discharged a gun, but he claimed to have discharged it accidentally while cleaning it. So, and it was a suicide call from the neighbor who they told him to beat it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm the complainant, like I'm the guy that called. And they wouldn't even listen to him. Meanwhile, they're gonna go take a pee in this guy's house. And then they're sitting at a
Hmm.
table drinking coffee, right?
Yeah.
So
He invited them
yeah,
to.
he like so a pee turned into coffee, and then they find bullets on the ground from his shotgun, and then they're getting all up in his grill about that. Where did these come from? And I think he said something like the store, like like it was just a bizarre line of questioning. Where do they think they come from? The place you get bullets? I don't know. It was just very weird. So yeah, not a super fan.
Aw. And were those all your pros and cons?
No, not. I still have more. Um,
Okay.
So the war buddy at the end from Vietnam,
Hmm.
who's a skeleton now, he couldn't hurt them. To which the hero exclaims, "You can't hurt me anymore. I don't believe
Yes.
you." This type of stuff. But he's able to take a grenade and bite the pin out of it, and then shove it in the skeleton, and it blows the skeleton up. I mean, I feel like the skeleton could have hurt him with a grenade, right? Like, especially if
Oh,
the grenade can blow the skeleton up. Um,
yeah. That was actually one of my cons too. The whole can't hurt you thing, which I'll read when you're done with
oh, you were
yours. I don't
going.
want to.
What are you going into? Your con?
No. I'm saying finish yours and then I'll go into mine because I mentioned something about that too.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, those were all your pros that you went through first.
Yeah, I went through a shitload of. I only have a couple cons.
Oh, okay. We'll go ahead and go into those. I think I've pretty much said my piece.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Well, then I'll start with that one, I guess, and you can add with it because I think we were saying a similar thing, which is all I was noting. When Ben cuts off Roger's hand and it grows back for some reason, and then Roger tells Ben he can't hurt him anymore. That didn't make sense to me because he clearly can, because his aunt committed suicide. The son was stolen for a long time. The monster was able to scratch him, and etc. So I'm not sure why he suddenly couldn't. My only thinking was maybe he can only hurt him if he believes he can or
Yeah,
something. But like you're saying with
yeah, you said I think I'm not afraid of you anymore. So it's like it was the fear that allowed him to be able to
yeah,
hurt him. But
and there's okay, so there's a lot of stuff happening which kept my attention for the most part. But there were a few drawn out parts, and the last ending wrap up scene was kind of boring to me.
hmm
And I don't know if this is just a note, but did you know that the actor that plays Ben, the military guy that's like the villain of this,
hmm
is 6'8" in real life?
no. He did look quite big, but I didn't know how big he was.
Yeah, 6'8". I think that's like having to duck through doors status. That's pretty freaking tall. Thought
Yeah.
that was crazy.
Yeah, he's a big dude. I think I've seen him in other
Mhm.
comedies, if it's the actor I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he does look familiar. I think I've seen him in stuff too, but I just did not know he was like a two-story house tall. And then when Roger was talking to his agent across the street, this is at the very beginning. The cars are in the forefront. The cars are way louder than they're talking for like a solid 5 minutes, and it was really hard to even understand what they were saying. So I wasn't sure if it was intentional to be funny or if like they didn't notice how loud the cars were, or if it's just me maybe. Do you remember that?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. So it's probably just me. I felt like the sound for the cars and stuff was like really cranked up. And then I heard them like talking across the street, but and it was like a long time. So I'm supposed to be paying attention to what they're saying, and I can't even hear them. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah. I don't know if you were sensitive to the beginning of the movie where it just like it played music and it took forever to actually get to something happening. So the movie starts and like there's a song going and it's like closing in on the house.
I liked that. That was like the opening. That was one of my pros actually. I liked the going around the house. So it was after that all happened. It was they had already talked and stuff. It was just this one moment where I think they were walking out of a building. I think it was after the book signing actually. They were walking out of that, him and his agent, I guess. And they're walking for a while across the street and they're talking. They're having a real conversation. Like if I put on subtitles, I know it would have said what they were saying. So I think we were supposed to be able to hear that. It was something about his book getting ready or something, but I couldn't understand it because the cars were so freaking loud. It was just weird.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the if that was intended or not. Maybe that was the filming error somehow. Yeah, they had really loud
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, it was just weird to me. I'm like, are we supposed to know what's happening right now? Hopefully it's not important because I'm missing it all. Okay, and then I just have two more cons. It didn't make sense to me that he grew up in the house and was then surprised that ghost activity happened. Because wouldn't he have experienced some of this when he was living there already?
You would think so.
And yeah, or did the house just wait for him to grow up to reveal itself? Which is even weirder in my opinion, because I don't think it picks and chooses like that. Or at least, typically,
Well, it only
I don't think.
attacks post-pubescent humans. So
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think that's normally how it goes. And then if he did know already, then why would you even bring your son there and put him in danger?
yeah.
So that was a little odd. Granted, you want to visit your family and everything, but maybe go, out to lunch or something. You don't have to go to the house. And then at the end, he pulls his son Jimmy out of the jungle cage in like 2 seconds because the chain wasn't even locked.
Yeah. The incompetent malevolence.
Yes, exactly. Because he spends all his time. It was probably for humor reasons, but it was just interesting because he spends all his time trying to find him, going through the cave, going through the jungle, finds the cage, and then it's like delatched in seconds, and he's walking away with his son. I was just like, what?
That's
It was
yeah,
funny.
that's kind of funny in the sense that because I was just thinking to myself, horror, any type of horror in the world becomes funny when evil is incompetent.
Yeah.
Like think of even in real life situations, think of like someone trying to break in your house and you just can't do it because they're too dumb. Like you mean, and you begin to laugh at them and they can't hurt you because they don't know how to.
Oh my God. That's why Home Alone is so funny.
Yes, actually, that's a very good point.
Yeah, that's
Well,
funny.
it's also the boy is pretty clever, but they're
Yeah.
just as dumb. So they're just as dumb as he
Hmm.
is clever. So it makes for an interesting turn of events because they walk right into his traps. So
Yeah. Speaking of Home Alone, they took part of Home Alone from when he was a kid and they made a commercial with Macaulay Culkin as an adult doing the same things in those scenes, but as an adult with Alexa or with Google, one of them. Did you see it?
no, I'm not familiar with that actually.
Okay. It's actually pretty funny.
Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, he's an adult and he's it's showing all the moments where he had to be clever to get out of things and how Alexa, if it's Alexa, it's one of those.
Yeah,
Um
voice assistant.
yeah, gets him out of it. And he doesn't have to do anything. He's just like, "Hey Alexa, blah blah blah," and then like it handles the criminals for him.
Oh,
It's
that'd be
funny.
cool. Yeah, I'd like to see that. I know they went on to make sequels.
Yeah, the first and second one are really good. You've seen the second one, right? Because I actually like that one about the same as the first, honestly.
Yeah, that's in New York, I believe.
Mhm. It's the third one that's not great. I saw that one as a kid. I don't know if they made. I think they actually probably did make more than that even, but
I never seen that one just because it didn't have Mr. Culkin in it. So, but yeah,
Mr. Culkin. That sounds
yeah, it
funny.
had that another new kid in it and a bird. I like the bird. I was like, maybe I'll watch it because of that, but I was like, nope. Oh wow.
So, House is a great movie. It's perfect. It's hilarious. You should really watch it, unless you're boring as hell. The end. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
I don't know. I was just kidding. You can do it. I'm just playing.
The insult outro by
Yes.
by Minky. Mm.
I was just playing though. I was just doing that to see what your reaction would be.
This film was so bad that it has the potential to be good if you like funny horror comedy. So I
Yes.
would yes. So I wouldn't recommend it. But you can try it.
And I would recommend it if you like that type of thing, like the B comedy type. This one's an intentional horror
Yeah.
comedy.
But we will review other ones series at some point in time. And we'll be going in order with the second movie.
That would be funny if we just jumped to 4 or
We
something.
might, yeah. Yeah, I don't think we will. I just promise that we
It
wouldn't.
probably doesn't follow a linear storyline anyway, so we probably would be fine jumping anywhere, but
I would
we
be
should watch
afraid if it
2.
followed a linear storyline. The whole movie wasn't a linear storyline.
That's true.
It was half Vietnam, half mansion, and all bad decisions. Climbing down a mirror, and a kid being groped by a hand, and like I don't even know, like
A kid being groped by, oh, on his back.
yeah, remember? And I like
I
how
was like, what the hell?
he flushed it down the toilet, the hand, and it got stuck.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that was gross. Anyway, uh, maybe going in with a different mindset, I'll like it more. Yeah, I like the next one more, but
Yeah, I think
I don't pull
so.
down a
And
lot of hate.
a rule of thumb, if stuff is funny, it's probably a comedy.
Yeah, that's usually right, which is why it's a good rule. But
Yeah.
when it's just bad,
Yeah, or it's a B horror movie and they're really trying and it is unintentionally funny. That happens too, I guess.
yeah,
Or no,
yeah, I think that's true. I think that's what was happening.
this was intentional comedy.
Are you sure? Well, yeah, I guess you are sure because it said that, but
Yeah.
I feel like they put
It's
that in
yeah.
there though to maybe protect themselves. Where they're like, well, we'll just call it a comedy too.
There's no way this movie was made to not be funny. Like just the dialogue. Like one of my favorite quotes was how the neighbor was acting and he's like totally bashing the crap out of the lady and then he's like, that's my aunt, and then he's like changes it to totally nice. You can only read that as humorous.
But like,
In my
take the Saw series that has comedy in it, just in case people laugh.
What?
If you go in and look at IMDb, it says like the first Saw movie, it says horror, comedy, suspense. Yeah, like
You're silly.
yeah, I'm joking.
I thought you were saying that they added comedy throughout the song for like comical relief, and that's what they were doing in this. And I was like, wait, what? And then I realized what you actually meant, that they made it like they put the genre as comedy too.
Yeah, just to protect themselves against incompetence.
You're nuts. Speaking of which, I love the Saw series, so not that it's the same thing at all, but anyone listening should watch those if they haven't seen
I
them.
love the prequel, Getting Jiggy with It.
What? That's fun.
It's a prequel to the series called Getting Jiggy with It. Jigsaw is finding out his true self.
I would watch that actually. I think you're honest.
Well, that's a wrap. You really had a long prose list.
Now you're gonna bash me now that we've hung up, huh?
Yeah,
No, I'm kidding.
You were like, I love the floorboards with the green in them and the nails, and I love the door of the house with the knob. Yeah.
You know what's interesting? I almost put that. I did love the door with the knob. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, you literally covered you could use if all the detail you gave, they could have refilmed the entire movie, like, based off of your review.
Well, don't hate me because I liked it, man.
No, that's not the reason.
I know. I didn't know. What'd you say?
I said that's not the reason. When I go to give it, I covered everything. So there's really nothing left to say except I agree with you or I disagree with you.
Sorry, you're right. You know what? Maybe we should limit ourselves to like our top 5 pros and then top 5 cons. That way we leave something for the other person.
Normally it's not a problem. There's times where it's kind of close, but with this one, you literally covered everything. Like, I can't think of anything left. Like,
sorry, you're right. I did. I was like, this is good, and this is good, haha, and this one.
Yeah, like you literally started from the bookstore, and you worked your way through the whole movie, and the only thing you left out, I think, was the Vietnam scene. I think that was the only thing you didn't like or comment on, at least.
So, what you're saying is I'm selfish with my pros list.
No.
I'm taking everything. I'm gonna include this in the recording because it's funny as hell.
What?
Yes? Because it's true. I wrote the whole movie in there, basically. I'm like, it was good. I couldn't just say it was good and then say some pointers. I'm like, listing. I made your job easier, not harder. On